Hello there! Now I know you may be asking, why am I a white man discussing the music works of a black man? Well, I've actually reached out to some of my non-white fans and I've got a response. Is it because I'm black? You're Indian. I know, I just wanted to make you look bad. So I got the pass. So my taste in music is varied, to say the least. I mean, I like all sorts of genres. Rock, rap, EDM, pop, Sonic, Kirby, Kingdom Hearts, Persona. I listen to songs via Smash Ultimate more than I do Spotify. I think I have a problem. I've had this cavity for like 3 weeks. The thing's only gotten worse. But I want to focus on one of those, and no, it's not EDM. Rap is a genre that I've only recently started getting into. I mean, I've listened to some classic Eminem songs before, and Hamilton is the best rap-related thing ever, but it's never been something that I've really bothered getting into until recently. I've also actually started listening to an entire album in its entirety, and both of these came to fruition after I listened to one album that was released last year. GNX by Kendrick Lamar. Now, Kendrick's someone I've only dipped my tippy toes into his work throughout my life. I knew about his song Humble and some of the other popular ones, and that's about it. And I know I'm gonna sound like a heathen for saying this, but it's true. I got into Kendrick through the Drake versus Kendrick beef. I know I'm never seeing those pearly gates, and it's not because of this. Listen, you should never be ashamed of how you got into a certain piece of media. If you got into Star Wars via the sequels, that's perfectly fine. You may be put on a registry, but it will be worth it in the long run. Anyways, as the prime of the beef was starting to die down, Kendrick surprise dropped his newest album on November 22nd, 2024, GNX. I decided to listen through an entire album for the first time, and that was life-changing. Getting into a musical artist via their newest works. I am a sinner who's probably gonna sin again. Lord. Kendrick Lamar is an American rapper, songwriter, and record producer. Born in Compton, California on June 17, 1987 as Kendrick Lamar Duckworth, he began his music journey under the name K-Dot during his time in high school. Kendrick released 5 mixtapes throughout the 2000s. The first one, Hub City Threat, Minor of the Year, was released on April 5th, 2003. For moral reasons, I cannot say the full name of this mixtape. The mixtape made it to record producer Anthony Top Dog Tiffith, who offered Kendrick an audition into his new independent record label TDE, or Top Dog Entertainment. Kendrick grew a bond with rappers J-Rock, Absol, and Schoolboy Q, which led to them creating a hip-hop supergroup, Black Hippie. Kendrick released his second mixtape, Training Day, on December 20th, 2005, and his third, C4, on January 30th, 2009 as a tribute to Lil Wayne's The Carter 3. Around this time, Kendrick didn't like how his stage name K-Dot was taking attention away from his real identity, so he decided to retire it. Don't worry, I too have aliases that I'd rather people not call me by. I had a really weird phase when I was 9. He decided to change his name to his first and middle name and marks this name change as a part of his career growth. Kendrick released his 4th mixtape, Overly Dedicated, on September 4th, 2010, and said mixtape would be introduced by Dr. Dre at Tech Nine's Independent Grind Tour. Dre would go on to reach out to Kendrick to work with him and Snoop Dogg on his unfinished album, Detox, and would sign Kendrick to his record label, Aftermath Entertainment. And on July 2nd, 2011, Kendrick dropped his first studio album, Section 80. Now, before I get into reviewing this album and the other 6 albums, I want it to be known that out of all forms of media, music is the one where my opinion on it changes the most. So any and all opinions on any songs that I talk about could change on a dime tomorrow, next week, anytime, to be honest. So with that being said, Section 80 I feel like works perfectly as an introduction to anyone who wants to get into Kendrick's music. Is it his best? No, not by a long shot. In fact, I'd say out of his 7 studio albums, this is easily his worst. And I mean that as a huge compliment. Let me give you some advice as a content creator. If your first song or YouTube video or something along those lines is your worst, that's really good because it shows your growth and that it can only go up from here. Even if it is his worst album, it's still a great album. The other 6 are just better. The album's name was a mix between the Section 8 housing and the decade that Kendrick was born, the 80s. The album was handled by Top Dog Entertainment, and it deals with themes and subjects such as medication tolerance, the 1980s crack epidemic, racism, women's rights, vices, and the presidency of Ronald Reagan. Kendrick basically wanted to discuss his generation in this album, starting off with F Your Ethnicity. Listen, I run a family-friendly channel, with the bonus of openly saying that he doesn't believe in the age of consent. How does it always come back to It's a really great start that perfectly sets the tone for the album. The song sets up a little mini storyline skit in the beginning before the song, and it sets up the two overarching characters of the album, Tammy and Keisha, and shows Kendrick not caring about the race of his fans and audience and just wanting them to listen and understand his story. I'm gonna try avoiding going into too much depth on all these songs because I have like more than 100 to talk about. Hold Up is a really good song. I don't have much else to say, it's just a good song. ADHD is a great song about drug culture and the dark shadow that drug abuse casts over his generation. It's great stuff. Also, fun fact, this song is a part of the soundtrack for GTA 5. Kendrick was in his early days and was already getting his music put in one of the biggest video games of all time. Let that sink in. No Makeup sounds like a mix between a Kendrick song and a Linkin Park song. I don't know much about Colin Monroe's music, so maybe that's just a style, I don't know. That's not a positive or negative, I just wanted to bring that up. I like the symbolism of makeup for alcohol and drugs, trying to cover up and or ignore our flaws instead of facing them. And as you can see, I clearly faced my flaws. This is a comedy channel, Ben. Why are you making it depressing? Tammy's song is a pretty good song. I don't know, it just feels like a song that moves the story of the album along and not much else. Chapter 6 works as a really good interlude to the next song and continues the little mini storyline from F Your Ethnicity's intro. Ronald Reagan Era is a great song that shows one of Kendrick's greatest lyrical strengths. Visualizing his stories in your head. I'll elaborate on this point a little more later on, but probably my favorite aspect of Kendrick's music is his ability to tell stories and events with his music. And one of the ways he does that is using his words to paint a picture of the story in your head. So many of his lyrics help you visualize what the said Ronald Reagan era was like for people like Kendrick. And you can clearly tell that Kendrick knows what the 80s were like. I know I sound like a high school English teacher talking about the intricacies of the writing of a book. But this is different because what I'm actually talking about is interesting. If any of my high school English teachers are watching this video, I just want you to know that was a joke. I love you guys. Oh, also RZA is a really good feature on the song. Poe Man's Dreams is another one of my favorite songs on the album. The song has a strong connection to Edgar Allan Poe. First off, Edgar Allan Poe, Poe Man's Dreams. Congratulations, you're not an illiterate moron. But also some other details such as how, while it is not exactly known how Edgar Allan Poe died, some historians believe that he died from alcohol poisoning, thus giving into his vices, which is a big theme of Section 80. Poe also discussed more realistic situations in his work, which Kendrick and GLC also discuss in this song. It's just all those little details, on top of this being a really great and memorable song, that make Kendrick such a good songwriter and artist. The Spiteful Chant, fun fact, was apparently taken off of streaming services in August 2019, possibly due to sample clearance issues because it contained a sample of Woodkid's Iron. And that stinks because this song slaps. Literally. The instrumentals in the background are just fantastic, and Schoolboy Q cooks on this song. Chapter 10 continues the storyline from earlier and is an interlude for Keisha's song. That's about it. Yeah, this is probably the worst song of the album. It's fine. Speaking of which, Keisha's song is one of the better songs in the album when it comes to the themes. It goes over the pain that women feel when having to resort to prostitution and why they resort to that. It talks about the road of abuse that can lead someone down a destructive to themselves life like that. It actually brings up Keisha again in Good Kid, Mad City and Sing About Me. And Asher Riser's chorus is so good. Just a really great song through and through. Rigor Mortis proves that Kendrick is a man that does not need to breathe oxygen because I swear this man didn't breathe once when recording these verses. And it's so good. Cushing Corinthians, first off, that name goes so hard for no reason. Second off, this song's a banger. It deals with the temptations of vices and moral actions, which justice and moral actions is what Paul's letters to the Corinthians were about. There are also parallels in this song to the accusations against Paul in the early Catholic Church. Like, this is so good, and it's his first album. You know how good my first outing on YouTube was? Not good. Blow My High is a pretty good song. I like how it's a tribute to Aaliyah, rest in peace. Not much else. Absol's outro is one of the more interesting songs in an album filled with interesting songs. Absol goes over the multiple themes of the album and gives some of his own input. Terrace Martin's instrumental solo near the end is just such jazzy excellence. And Kendrick uses this outro to state that everything he said throughout the album was just his opinion. You may or may not agree with him, but you at the very least heard his beliefs and felt the message he was trying to share with the world. He wants his listeners to form their own opinions because we're all people just trying to learn our form of truth. We're only on the first album and Kendrick's already got me talking a conclusion type monologue. And we're not done yet because we still have the final song and the debut single of the album, High Power. The song goes over many of the racial figures, subjects, and conspiracy theories of the past and today. The title of the track list is actually stylized like this, which the power separated is Po We Are, or Poor We Are, which poverty is a major theme of the album and was a large issue affecting those who lived in projects, as referenced in Section 8 of the Housing Act of 1937. Yeah, this is a history class now, so get out your notebooks, there will be a test after this. And there ends Section 80. Overall, a great start to Kendrick's albums that ties in all the themes beautifully with one another to weave a great story. On top of the fact that a lot of these songs are just bangers. This is my rough ranking of the songs, and I'll give Section 80 an 8 out of 10. Section 80 debuted at number 113 on the US Billboard 200 and has sold 500,000 copies. Kendrick actually started planning on his second album before Section 80 was even released, because Kendrick is that guy. Kendrick signed with both Aftermath Entertainment and Interscope Records while still working with TDE. And on October 22nd, 2012, Kendrick would drop his second album, Good Kid, Mad City. Good Kid, Mad City was titled that by Kendrick because, and I quote, "It's two meanings. The first is my angry adolescence divided, and the basic standout meaning is my angels on angel dust. That's the reason why I don't smoke. That was me. I got laced. The reason I don't smoke, and it's in the album. It's in the story. It was just me getting my hands on the wrong thing at the wrong time, being oblivious to it." The way MAD is spelled here, it's an acronym for both My Angels on Angel Dust and My Angry Adolescence Divided. It also refers to the 90s Compton-based hip-hop group WC in the Mad Circle. The leader of said group, WC, would go on to form Westside Connection. Good Kid, Mad City is not only regarded as one of Kendrick's best albums, but one of the best albums of the 2010s. The album even has what many consider to be Kendrick's best song, period, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. The album goes over a day in the life of 17-year-old Kendrick in Compton and its harsh realities. Interestingly enough, the album's track list is not actually in chronological order. This is the track list order, and this is the chronological order. Starting off with Shireen, aka Master Splinter's daughter. This album's got a thing for long titles. The song is about Kendrick's history with a woman named Shireen and how he wants to stay with her despite her family's interesting history. The Master Splinter part of the title possibly refers to Shireen's hood rat status. It's a great song that tells a really good story, plus the prayer at the beginning ties into another song really well later, and the argument between his parents on the phone at the end was kind of funny. Beat Don't Kill My Vibe is one of the more unique songs of the album because it doesn't actually advance the story of the album. This song is about modern day Kendrick being unhappy with the current state of rap and how he strives to be different by keeping his vision. It also goes over his rap career and how it changed his life. He explained in an interview, it's really one big subliminal at everybody getting mixed in a situation where everyone wants to have creative control. That's the vibe I wanted to kill. That's why I threw that record out. If you listen to some of the words, it's real intricate, but it makes sense. The song was also supposed to feature Lady Gaga, but that never came into fruition. She did end up posting the original version of the song on her Twitter though. I've said all of this about the song just to say, yeah, it's a great song. Really liked the intro, the outro nicely transitions into backseat freestyle, and that's pretty much all I have to say on this song. Well, I guess you could say that really killed the vibe. Yeah, it deserves it. Backseat Freestyle is one of the funniest Kendrick songs ever. Like, I'm sorry, the chorus, intro, and outro are so funny with Kendrick's delivery of them. The song is also really interesting because it serves as a flashback, so modern day Kendrick doesn't actually believe in anything he says in the freestyle. Instead, it shows the beliefs of a youth caught up in a corrupt society, or a mad city. Good kid, mad city, Do you understand the subtext that I am shouting into your ears and face right now? I think this might be one of my favorite songs on the album, and it is completely unironically. The Art of Peer Pressure is another one of my favorites on the album. The song chronologically sets the narrative of the album into motion, and Kendrick goes over a story of how he learned peer pressure the hard way. The engaging story mixed with the excellent beat and lyrics just, that's that peak Kendrick type stuff. Kendrick realizes that this robbery, this mission, he should have never been a part of, but the peer pressure of those around him made him think that this is necessary for a boy in Compton. Also, the title of this song is a play on Sun Tzu's The Art of War, and a good majority of this album is a study on the nature of violence and human conflict. Like, it's just the little things, man. The little things that just make stuff like this so special. Money Trees is definitely one of the most popular songs from Good Kid, Mad City. A lot of the lyrics in this song work as a summary of the album up until now. The line, "Everybody gun respect the shooter, but the one in front of the gun lives forever," is not only a really good life motto, but it also ties into events relating to later on in the album.
3 fantastic songs in a row. This really might be one of Kendrick's best albums. Poetic Justice featuring Drake.
Yeah, get your laughs out now, 6-year-olds.
Fun fact, when asked how it was working with Drake, Kendrick said, "My vibe with Drake is real cool." Ironic. Kendrick said Poetic Justice was a dedication song to Shireen, and that it was really bringing out the best of pulling out pure honesty on a track. They were just telling the story, which Kendrick thought himself and Drake were really good at. Janet Jackson's sampled verses in the background sound so good and really add to an already amazing song. Good Kid picks up after the end of this mouthful of a title and goes into the theme of realization, where Kendrick realizes that he needs to get out of the hood. But that is much easier said than done, with Kendrick dealing with both the negative effects of gang culture and being racially profiled by the police. A little detail I think is so cool about this song is that this is one of the only songs in the album that has no profanity. The absence of profanity helps to subtly drive home the story of a good kid who is simply guilty by association.
This is how you use the medium of music to tell a story. Like, it's such a small detail, but it helps the narrative so much at the same time.
Once again, amazing song. The story of this song continues in the next song, Mad City. The beating that Kendrick received brings back memories of similar events, such as witnessing someone getting shot in the head, most likely his uncle or someone like that, and he also remembers the shooter's name but bleeps it out. He also talks about how his cousin was killed in '94. He goes over a time where his dad told him to get a job, but he got fired after he and his friends were involved in a robbery. He talks about why he doesn't smoke by giving a story about smoking marijuana laced with cocaine and foaming at the mouth. Oh my god, Kendrick, go to therapy. This song is another one of the album's best. The flow and beats are just immaculate. The song's final verse is Kendrick trying to let the good shine through, and telling the youth that they don't have to give in to the pressures and temptations of the streets. Following this is another contender for the most popular song of the album, Swimming Pools. The song addresses the psychological connection between peer pressure and alcoholism. It's an introspective look into the social pressure that motivates people to drink. Kendrick actually talked about the inspiration for the song in an interview, stating, "What better way to make something universal than to speak about drinking? I'm coming from a household where you had to make a decision. You were either a casual drinker or you were a drunk. That's what that record is really about, me experiencing that as a child and making my own decisions." The fact that this sounds like a club song when it's about the negatives of alcohol is just genius reverse psychology. The song ends with a shootout that leads into the next song, which, now we get to what is widely considered to be the best Kendrick song of all time. Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst, or Sammy Daw for short. Now, do I believe it's his best song?
I mean, it's certainly up there. Yeah, I saw this song from a mile away.
I do believe it's the best song of the album, and at least top 3 Kendrick songs maybe? The song is actually 2 songs combined together, and speaks about how Kendrick broke from the gang life and the spiritual rebirth that helped him escape that lifestyle. The first half, Sing About Me, goes over the perspectives of 2 people before he starts rapping about the trials and tribulations from his own perspective. Then the second half, I'm Dying of Thirst, picks up where Swimming Pools left off, where Dave gets killed and his brother wants revenge. But instead, an old woman invites them to pray with her, which ties back into the intro of Shireen. It's like poetry almost, they rhyme. The already amazing separate songs blend perfectly together, and Kendrick even stated why he put them together. Before I became this person with a mature aspect on life, it was a dark place I came from. A place of negativity, a place of unruly. I really based them 2 tracks together because that was a situation that happened that exact same time. Just everything, the lyrics, the beat, the story, the parallels, the performances, the rhythm, it's just all near perfection. It's such a marvelous song and the crowning jewel of Good Kid, Mad City.
And we still somehow have 2 songs to go over.
Real is a great song, but coming off the soul-changing stuff I just listened to, it's more of a falling action song. The song goes over loving oneself, and it's really good at showing how Kendrick has matured throughout the album by him being much calmer in his tone of voice instead of the higher voice he was doing before. Fantastic symbolism in a great song. And to finish this album, we have Compton, featuring Kendrick's executive producer and Dr. Dre.
Second album, and this guy's already got one of the most legendary rap artists as a feature on his album. Like, what can't this man do?
The song serves as an epilogue to the album, and is chronologically the first song. It serves as a full circle song, with Kendrick looking back on the events of the album, and being happy that he was able to avoid the gang and crime life, and is able to be someone who can inspire kids who are like him to turn their lives around. And of course, Dre cooks with his feature on this song because it's Dr. Dre, and the song ends with the lines that precede the first track of the album. And that was Good Kid, Mad City. Overall, this isn't just a fantastic album for Kendrick's second album, this is just a fantastic album in general. It takes Section 80's positives and makes them even better, and it takes its negatives and improves on them. It's a lot more complex in the story and themes department, it's a lot more consistent. Kendrick's performances in these songs are incredible, and it just feels so unique. Between the more complex themes and the out-of-order track list, it just feels different from any other album I've ever heard. Which, to be fair, isn't a lot, but still. Just an absolutely sensational and creative album, which, once again, this is his second album. The album sold around 242,000 copies and debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200, and it surpassed the Eminem Show for the longest charting hip-hop studio album on the Billboard 200. Second album! This is my ranking for the songs, and screw it. I'm gonna give Good Kid, Mad City a 10 out of 10. A true masterpiece of an album, and the best part, we haven't even gotten close to the best stuff yet. But before we get to that, I would like to talk about some of the different songs from this era. I'll be choosing a handful of songs to talk about from each era of Kendrick's career to get a sort of feel for how each of these eras felt like for Kendrick.
Also, the comments would eat me alive if I didn't mention some of these songs.
First off, we have Collard Greens, a song he did alongside fellow Black Hippie member Schoolboy Q. Kendrick actually did a bilingual verse in both English and Spanish because this man is an absolute bloody legend. This song's great, I don't have much else to say. Next we have Nostalgia, a song he did with Pusha T on his album My Name Is My Name. The song goes over the balance of the drug game, with Pusha, who sold cocaine for half his life, on one side, and Kendrick, who was the kid who watched his father sniff crack during the 80s, on the other side. Both Pusha and Kendrick are great in this song, and it really does feel like a Good Kid, Mad City song. Finally, for this era, we have Control, a song he did with Jay Electronica and Big Sean. In the middle of the song, Kendrick just goes off on this verse that just name drops a long list of people in a very angry manner. It was seen as a wake-up call on Kendrick trying to reinvigorate the rap industry. Most of the rappers on said list took the verse as either an endorsement of their abilities, a challenge, or both. But Drake just whined about it like the little child that he is. This is actually seen as the origin story for the Drake vs. Kendrick beef that would occur for about a decade or so, but we'll get to that eventually.
Also, Kendrick did a song with Robin Thicke on his album Blurred Lines called Give It To You. So it's not very good.
From September to October 2012, Kendrick would headline the BET Music Matters Tour with Black Hippie. He won Lyricist of the Year at the BET Hip Hop Awards. He went on 2 headlining concert tours in 2013, a national college tour with Steve Aoki, and his first international tour. Upon learning of the deaths of 3 close friends, Kendrick dealt with depression and survivor's guilt. He was baptized a second time during the beginning of the Yeezus tour and had a nervous breakdown at the end.
Man, I just want to give Kendrick a hug.
After his opening stint on said tour ended, Kendrick began work on his third album. He got 7 nominations at the 2014 Grammy Awards, including Best New Artist, Best Rap Album, and Album of the Year for Good Kid, Mad City. And he won none of those, for they did not understand the sacred texts at the time. He did perform with Imagine Dragons, so that's cool. Macklemore apologizing to Kendrick for winning Best Rap Album and Best New Artist is so funny to me, I don't know why. Kendrick starred in, commissioned, and produced a short film called Mad that premiered at the Sundance Institute's Next Fest on August 9th, 2014. And on March 15th, 2015, he released his third album, To Pimp a Butterfly. To Pimp a Butterfly is titled that because it's a metaphor. It's representative of how society, particularly the music industry, exploits the talents of, in this album's case, young black men, or the butterfly, for their own gain. The album goes into themes of self-love and hate, fame, depression, violence, race, and politics. It uses a poem that Kendrick speaks parts of throughout the album, before speaking the entire thing in the final song of the album in an immensely powerful song that we'll get to soon. The album is heavily inspired by Kendrick's trip to South Africa in 2014, where he visited places like Nelson Mandela's jail cell. This is evident with Kendrick making many allegorical connections between South Africa and Compton in the album. To Pimp a Butterfly isn't just seen as Kendrick's best album, it's not just seen as one of the best albums of the 2010s. This is seen as one of the best hip-hop albums of all time. Now, do I think it's that good?
Yes, it very much is that good.
The album starts off with Wesley's Theory, a song that introduces the theme of black artists being exploited by racist institutions for profit. The first half of the song shows a young Kendrick deluded by money, then the second half of the song shows Uncle Sam, a personification of the US government trying to charm him. A lot of people say this is the best song of the album, and while I do think it's a great song, the best song of the album, For Free is another one of the funniest Kendrick songs ever while being a banger of a song at the same time. It shows Kendrick continuing to fall victim to the record industry's pimps. The line delivery from Kendrick in this song is so funny.
This being Kendrick's favorite song on the album makes it even funnier somehow.
King Kunta is one of the catchiest Kendrick songs ever. It is so good. First off, I listened to this version of the song with Billie Jean's beat in the background, and that changed my life forever. Secondly, the song is about how Kendrick confidently sings about how he's on top of the rap game with the influence he's gotten. The song name is based on the main character of the book Roots, the Saga of an American Family by Alex Haley, Kunta Kinte. Kinte refused to accept the name Toby that his masters attempted to give him, and his right foot was cut off following his attempts to escape the plantation, ergo, this line in the song. The song has so many different inspirations that Kendrick just blends perfectly here. Fantastic song. Institutionalized, on the other hand, is the realization that the dirty past of the Mad City still festers within Kendrick's mind. He goes over how the idea of getting rich almost brainwashes people and how the institution of money brings upon envy and violence. It affects both the poor and the rich. The poor are institutionalized by prison, racism, and classism, and the rich are institutionalized by the fear and the all-powerful dollar. No matter your status, you lose against this industry and idea of wealth. The word institutionalized also has connections of insanity, with people who are put in institutions are seen as there is something wrong with them. But perhaps it's the institution that's in the wrong here. It's a thematically rich song that is the perfect follow-up to King Kunta. Plus, this song has Snoop Dogg, and that's always cool. These Walls explores themes of fornication, abuse, Kendrick's own career, his enemies, and the human psyche. It goes over Kendrick getting with a woman with children whose father is in prison for killing one of Kendrick's friends. Kendrick views this as an act of vengeance for his friend, but he also feels bad for using his power and fame to be able to commit such an act for such a purpose. Overall, These Walls represent an allegory for a cycle of murder, lust, seduction, revenge, and guilt. Again, I cannot stress enough how thematically amazing this song is. I will now show you my complete first reaction to listening to the song, You.
Hey, it's the Kendrick song with the funny scream. This should be another funny song. Why are my AirPods being glitched with right now?
And if this bottle could talk, I cry myself to sleep. Everything is your fault.
This song broke me. It goes over all the negative and dark thoughts inside of Kendrick's mind, calling him a failure. Kendrick stated that this is one of the hardest songs to write because it goes into some dark places, all his insecurities and selfishness. Just this raw, uncensored, no holds barred, absolute beat down of himself, with Kendrick giving such an emotional performance that leaves me in tears every time I hear it. God, I love this song so much. Easily one of the best songs of the album.
Kendrick, it's not cool to rip out my heart, stomp on it 57 times, and sew it back with ramen.
Alright is probably the most popular song on the album, and it is a much needed spirit lift after You gave me unquantifiable depression. Alright goes over how Kendrick means to escape his troubles, trusting God that he will be able to look past all of his flaws and have confidence that everything gonna be alright. Fantastic song. For Sale kind of works in tandem with For Free. Both songs relate to Kendrick's value as an artist and how that transitions into his value as a person. But on For Free, he criticizes the culture that creates a belief that famous people must be flashy with their money. In For Sale, however, he juxtaposes that criticism with the seductive nature of the bling culture and the idea that once an artist signs a deal, all their dreams will come true. Lucy in this song is very clearly a character representing Lucifer, or the devil. It's a great song. Mama talks about Kendrick's growth after having gone through the internal struggle he had in For Sale. Kendrick mentions returning home, which could mean a lot of things as shown here. And while it's not explicitly said, there is some evidence in the song that could imply that Mama is referring to Africa, as Kendrick is going back home to the motherland. Another really amazing song thematically. The ending poem on Hood Politics goes over Kendrick having survivor's guilt by reminding himself that he earned his success and stayed true to his A1 foundation. That's what Hood Politics is about. Kendrick once again giving us the outlook of when he was an adolescent who didn't have the knowledge he has now. I mean, he's speaking in a higher pitch in this song as if he were younger. It's a very good song. How Much a Dollar Cost, for reference, was former President Barack Obama's favorite track from 2015.
The president's favorite song coming from an album that criticizes politics is the greatest irony of the century.
This song is about Kendrick being asked by a homeless man for some cash, and Kendrick just tells him to buzz off before it's revealed said homeless man is actually God. Kendrick slowly gains selfishness from his success comes out the most when he interacts with this homeless man, and the selfishness is what leads God to tell Kendrick that he has lost his place in heaven. Just a fantastic song, narratively and musically. Complexion is about beauty standards, specifically colorism. Colorism has affected the black community since all the way back in the time of slavery. The song basically says to love everyone, no matter if they're lighter or darker. Kendrick even says so in an interview, stating, "The idea was to make a record that reflected all complexions of black women. There's a separation between the light and the dark skin because it's just our nature to do so, but we're all black." This concept came from South Africa, and I saw all these different colors speaking a beautiful language.
He has such a way with words.
The original concept for the track didn't even have Kendrick on the track. Prince would do the hook and Rhapsody would spit 2 verses. Amazing song. The Blacker the Berry is basically about Kendrick angrily shouting about how he's proud to be an African American while rapping about topics like racism and police brutality. I am going to show you this image now, and when I get to the song you are going to understand why this image goes so unbelievably hard. In summary, Kendrick's angry line delivery goes so hard, and Assassin's choruses are just amazing, as is the song. You Ain't Gotta Lie is basically about the figurative purgatory the rappers can get into if they're not ridiculously successful or unknown enough to just return to the hood without any unwanted attention. It basically talks about how some rappers feel like they have to wear some sort of mask or act some sort of way in their current position, but they don't. Another banger. I is apparently Kendrick's favorite song he's ever written because he thought he'd never make such a positive song when he grew up around such negativity. Now, do I believe it's his best song?
No.
But it's still a fantastic song. It's just a great juxtaposition to the rest of the album being about negative temptations and self-doubt, where this song offers the possibility of redemption. The upbeat tempo helps this theme even more. This song even delves deeper into themes that were discussed in the song Real from GKMC. And it's a much more hopeful song than The Blacker the Berry, the song that gives hope of discussing race versus a much more violent song discussing race, MLK Jr. versus Malcolm X.
This tweet is so cool. I love this image so much.
A fantastic penultimate track before we get to the final track of To Pimp a Butterfly, Mortal Men. This song was another song that was heavily inspired by Kendrick's trip to South Africa, even mentioning Mandela's jail cell. Kendrick name drops many leaders of change including Moses, Nelson Mandela, Malcolm X, and MLK Jr. But the song ends around the 5-minute mark and we hear Kendrick recite the full poem that he's been saying bits and pieces of throughout the album. And when he finishes the poem up, it's revealed that he's been reading it this entire time to his biggest inspiration and the last king of hip-hop, Tupac Shakur. If you listen to either's music, you can just tell how much of an impact Tupac has had on Kendrick's music. Between the social commentary aspect and the storytelling aspect, I mean, Kendrick has said it himself. The original title for To Pimp a Butterfly was To Pimp a Caterpillar, which abbreviated spells out Tupac. The two discuss topics like black culture, racism, fame, and image. The bits of audio for Tupac were taken from an interview from 1994 with the Swedish radio show P3 Soul, and the bits work so naturally with Kendrick you actually think Kendrick was having a conversation with Tupac in the song. Kendrick comes to realize that he is the new voice in a long line of leaders. He understands that his time is limited like the ones that came before him, and that he must reach the youth to continue to spread the word. And the ending, where Kendrick just keeps calling out Tupac's name, but he never responds because he was never actually talking to Pac. Pac was there through his music, and this also alluding to the fact that Pac was taken from us too early. Dude, I was left speechless when I first heard this song.
You can't keep getting away with it!
So yeah, To Pimp a Butterfly is easily one of the greatest albums I've ever heard. It's easily one of the most consistently amazing. The themes it delves into are handled excellently. There are some really amazing features. Kendrick's performances on songs like You and The Blacker the Berry are absolutely sensational. The lyric work, the instrumentals, just all the musical aspects are top tier. And the stories it tells are somehow even better than Good Kid Mad City. Somehow. The last half of You and the final talk with Tupac and Mortal Men are two of my favorite moments in any Kendrick song. This album deserves every last iota of praise it gets and more. The album sold 324,000 copies in its first week and was Kendrick's first #1 album on the Billboard 200. Here's my ranking of the songs, and not surprising any of you, I assume, I'm giving To Pimp a Butterfly a 10 out of 10. Now to the era songs. First off, we have his remix on Bad Blood by Taylor Swift.
Now, me and Swifties aren't on the best of terms.
Listen to Taylor Swift. Actually, no, don't listen to Taylor Swift. Just don't. Bad Blood is already basically about Taylor's fallout with Katy Perry, but Kendrick's verses address his own haters. It was theorized whether these verses were secretly a Drake diss, because anything relating to Kendrick dissing has to come back to Drake for some godforsaken reason, but that was confirmed to be false. Anyways, Kendrick makes a Taylor Swift song good because this man can make almost anything good. Almost everything. Next we have Black Friday with J. Cole, which is a very interesting song, or songs. It's basically split into two songs. One is Kendrick rapping over the beats of Cole's song A Tale of Two Cities, and Cole rapping over Kendrick's song Alright. Both are definitely very good songs because Kendrick and Cole are amazing artists.
Next we have Goosebumps by Travis Scott. I don't think I need to explain to you what this song is.
Just gonna say, Kendrick's last part on his verse, perfection. Holy Key by DJ Khaled. How many of these era songs are gonna be carried by Kendrick's verses? Well, that isn't entirely true here. And by that I mean Betty Wright and Big Sean are also here to carry DJ Khaled. And the final song from this era, Freedom by Beyonce. The song is already about black women, so bringing in the guy who just made an entire album about institutionalized racism seems like a no-brainer. Good song, not much else. Also, I just want to mention Don't Wanna Know by Maroon 5 because just how do these two artists collaborate for a song? The guy who made The Blacker the Berry being in the same song as the band who made Sugar. Like, the math isn't mathing. And that's it for the To Pimp a Butterfly era.
I still have 4 more albums to go.
Kendrick would go on to get 11 nominations for To Pimp a Butterfly at the 2016 Grammys, winning 5 of them. Best Rap Album, Best Rap Performance, Best Rap Song, Best Rap Sung Performance, and Best Music Video. That same night at the Grammys, Kendrick would give an incredible performance of Alright, The Blacker the Berry, and an untitled song we'll get to shortly. It would get a lot of backlash from Fox News because apparently a song that's about how life's gonna be alright no matter the struggles equals this guy wants all cops dead. Fox News is the media literacy of a potato, and trust me, this is not the last time I'm gonna mention them. Anyways, Kendrick had previously performed untitled songs on talk shows such as The Colbert Report and The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, and he would make an album out of some of these untitled songs after being requested to share these works on Twitter by, I kid you not, LeBron James.
LeBron James unintentionally got us a Kendrick album. I don't know if I'm living in the best or worst timeline anymore.
Somebody said you bumped your head.
Untitled Unmastered was released on March 4th, 2016, not even a year after To Pimp a Butterfly. Untitled Unmastered is less of an album and more just a compilation of outtakes from To Pimp a Butterfly that were originally meant to be part of the album, but at some point got cut. The studio versions of these songs weren't even meant to be released until LeBron came. I mean, these songs don't even have names, for God's sake. Untitled 1 is basically a warning to humanity that if we keep sinning, the days of judgment will come.
Ah yes, my favorite priest, Deacon Lamar.
It actually works as sort of a continuation of Pac's metaphor for mortal men with the ground opening up and eating the rich. Kendrick tries to plead to God for forgiveness to escape this horrifying fate. ASMR bit at the beginning was kind of weird, but besides that, great song.
I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt.
Untitled 2 is about Kendrick's confliction between being a global sensation and his home in Compton. The first half's great, but the second half has an amazing verse with a great beat and flow, not much else. Untitled 3 goes over how the white man, or Kendrick's corporate overlords, keep taking a piece from him while several other minorities such as Asians, blacks, and Indians give a piece of themselves to Kendrick.
It sounds like some Dragon Ball stuff. I love it.
Untitled 4 talks about free thinking with more ASMR stuff from Kendrick. I don't know what it is about this album and ASMR stuff, but I don't like it. This is also the first time I get to talk about No Glaze, the greatest singing duo of all time. Kendrick and SZA. Okay, maybe not the greatest, but certainly my favorite. Like, these two would never miss on a collab. Like, they just go so perfect with one another.
Please, Kendrick and SZA, drop a collab album, I'm begging y'all. Wait, does this mean that Kendrick thought that a collab between him and SZA wasn't good enough for To Pimp a Butterfly? Are you insane?
Great song, but it is really short. It's not even 2 minutes. Which is funny because Untitled 5 is over 5 minutes. The song discusses power disparities and social inequality.
I'm talking about racial inequality so much, call me Milk Jr. I'm deleting my channel.
It's a good song, not much else. God, I have 3 more of these to talk about. Ugh. Untitled 6 is probably my favorite song of the album. CeeLo Green's vocals are great, and the theme of embracing one's character traits is nice. The song is in the form of Kendrick telling a potential lover that he finds her attractive, and that she doesn't have to hide anything from him. It's nice stuff. Untitled 7 is the most interesting song of the album because it's a 3-part track that shows the arc of an emotional rush. The initial rise, the inflated confidence, and then the bringing it down. It also goes into several of the other major themes of a lot of Kendrick songs. It doesn't even have a specific date to it. It just has a range of years attached to it, which probably means this was made in piecemeal, not just one jam session. It's another great song, but I just want to mention this one little tidbit. Part of the song was produced by Alicia Keys' at that point in time 5-year-old son, Egypt Dean. And there's just this picture with Egypts with guys like Kendrick, Jay-Z, Usher, etc.
I don't know why this image is so funny to me, it just is. Look, you got all these adults posted up and then you just got this 5-year-old. I don't know, I think it's funny.
Finally, we have Untitled 8. This song especially feels like something out of To Pimp a Butterfly, with Kendrick talking about institutionalized racism and just the sound of the song. It's an amazing outro song and just a great song in general. And that was the short and sweet, Untitled, Unmastered. It's definitely not on the tier of something like To Pimp a Butterfly or Good Kid Mad City, but still very solid for what it is, a compilation of outtakes. I say this is the most consistent of the albums, and by that I mean, here's the ranking. It kind of does just feel like To Pimp a Butterfly 2, which isn't a bad thing, but this album doesn't really have its own identity beyond being the album that was made because of LeBron James. It's great, it's fine, I like it. 8.5 out of 10. It debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200 with it selling 205,000 copies as of 2016. On March 1st, 2017, Kendrick announced his next album, Damn, which would end up releasing on April 4th, 2017. Damn is seen by many as Kendrick's weakest album, which, I mean, I get it, but that doesn't mean you're right. Absol discussed Kendrick's reason for Damn in an interview with Montreality. He's been Kendrick Lamar for a while, and Kendrick Lamar is the good kid. He's the more introspective kid. I think he was trying to get back to K-Dot, get back to his roots, sag his pants, really roll through the hood for this album. The album is about 2 characters, Wicked Kendrick and Weak Kendrick, and how both of them turn into the other's adjective by the end of their journey. It's like poetry almost, they rhyme.
Have I already made that joke? Do you even care at this point?
Blood is about Kendrick getting shot by a blind lady he was trying to help. The lady is seen as a representation of the consequences of damnation referenced in the book of Deuteronomy. It shows the duality of God, of obeying him and being blessed, or disobeying him and being damned. The song also ends with the recording of Kendrick's response to Fox News' moronic comments that I talked about earlier. It's a good song, but it's just really short, so. Anyways, DNA just comes in out of nowhere and just goes so hard for no reason, and it's amazing. Don Cheadle and Kendrick's little back and forth in the music video interrogation scene is amazing. Don Cheadle indirectly creating the Kung Fu Kenny persona will never not be hilarious to me. And overall, I just think the flow and lyrics are fantastic. I can definitely see why this is one of the most popular songs from the album. Yeah, that's pretty good, I guess. This song continues to just call out Fox News' media literacy, and I am all here for it. The song makes references to religious figures, like the song's title being inspired by Yahweh and mentioning the Israelites in the book of Deuteronomy. It's good, not much else. Elma is about Kendrick going over how his struggles and sacrifices have led to him being on top of the rap game.
I feel like I've already talked about this theme before. God, Mr. Morale, the Big Steppers is gonna be the death of me.
Feel goes over opposite sides on the range scale of feelings. Kendrick feels like no one is looking out for him, yet he tries to create this sense of isolation around him. He talks big about his placement in the rap game hierarchy, but he knows that the same industry is full of toxicity. Kendrick, despite being at his peak over the past couple of years, both commercially and critically, still has interpersonal and emotional problems. This song has that great duality to it that makes it stand out. It's really great. Loyalty gave me a Kendrick and Rihanna collab, which is something I never knew I needed in my life, but by God I did.
I mean, Kendrick just goes great with almost everyone. Almost everyone.
The song is about loyalty and honesty in platonic and romantic relationships. I cannot get enough of these two's voices together. This song deserved that Best Rap Song Performance Grammy. Now we get to one of the most popular songs of the album, Pride.
Now, what I'm about to say might ruffle a few feathers, to put it lightly, but this song's kinda fantastic.
Pride delves into Kendrick's own pride and goes over how him being one of the greatest rappers of all time creates a conflict between his ideals and his actions. The vocal pitch going from higher to lower reflects this contrast. Pride is seen as the original of the 7 deadly sins, and it ties into humans trying to make themselves more godlike. The beginning and end of this song are just incredible. Like, the rest of the song is fantastic too, but the opening and ending just And then that immediately gets followed up by Humble. Kendrick was onto something here. First off, the beats for Pride and Humble being the complete opposite of their songs' titles is just genius. Second off, this song's just amazing. The song sounds like it's basically a challenge to his competition, and just having the sense of Kendrick boasting about himself despite the song's name, it's genius. Just an amazing song. Lust further continues the 7 deadly sins theme of the album. It goes over lust in many forms, such as sexual lust, obviously, the want to be able to party with 0 consequences, or the want of no financial burdens. Basically the lust of wanting to become ridiculously wealthy, and even those who are wealthy continue to lust for more wealth. Great song. Love, once again, Kendrick putting a song with a title that completely juxtaposes the title of the previous song. The song is basically about Kendrick thinking about the woman in his life, presumably Whitney Alford, his fiancée.
I feel like people don't talk enough about the fact that Kendrick has been engaged to this woman for a decade.
He thinks about the important questions that will help solidify the most important aspect of his and his partner's relationship, love. I don't think the song is talked about enough. It's just an amazing song, and Zakari's vocals are just beautiful to listen to. XXX is unfortunately not about my goat. It is instead about Wicked Kendrick questioning the hypocritical aspects of America after setting aside his godly ways and overcoming fear. The first verse is Kendrick talking about moral ambiguity, saying even the most morally good people can commit wicked acts under the right conditions. He talks about his accomplishments on the streets before a friend calls him for advice after the death of his son. Kendrick pushes him to take revenge via violence, and the second verse provides the worldly context for this violence. It's another amazing and underrated song from this album. Fear is about experiences Kendrick has had with, well, fear.
Why do I even bother telling y'all what these songs are about anymore?
He goes over growing up in the hood with a strict mother, having fear of dying at a young age because of the environment he grew up in, his lack of confidence in himself and his abilities, fear of possibly losing the life he's built around him, all this from ages 7 to 17 to 27. The fourth verse works as a sort of thesis statement for the whole album, referencing every other song in the album. Kendrick explained the veracity of the song, stating, "It's completely honest. The first verse is everything that I feared from the time that I was 7 years old. The second verse, I was 17, and the third is everything I feared when I was 27. These verses are completely honest." Another one of the album's best songs. God is about Kendrick going over his successes, how it feels, and why he worked as hard as he did, going over that the feeling must be what God feels like. He flaunts his successes in the first verse, only to remind himself that he's still a mortal man. He's basically telling other rappers who feel like they're God that they are in fact not God. It's a pretty good song, one of the weaker songs of the album if I'm honest. Finally, we have Duckworth. The song goes over the tale of Top Dog robbing the KFC that Kendrick's father worked at, and how Kendrick's father's generosity made Top Dog spare his life. Funny how many years later he would sign that father's son onto his label. The opening to the song, I'd argue, rivals Pride's opening, and overall the song is just a really great conclusion to the album as a whole. And the last thing Kendrick says on the album is the first thing he said in the album. And there ends Damn, Kendrick's worst album, apparently. Now it's definitely not on the tier of something like To Pimp a Butterfly or Good Kid Mad City, but I still think it's an amazing album. The Wicked Kendrick and Weak Kendrick concept I think was executed well. There are a lot of fantastic songs in here. A lot of the features were great, and the different musical style from his other songs gives this album its own uniqueness. Here's my ranking for the songs, and I'll give Damn a 9 out of 10. Damn spent 4 non-consecutive weeks at the top of the Billboard 200 and sold 602,000 copies. So yeah, this is easily Kendrick's most successful album, but we still gotta talk about the songs from this era. First off, okay, let me just talk about Black Panther real quick. I didn't count the Black Panther album on here because Kendrick sings in like less than half the songs here. But he had a partner writing all of them.
I don't care!
So I might as well just talk about the most popular songs from said album, which, funnily enough, all involve Kendrick singing in them. First off, with 2.3 billion streams on Spotify, All the Stars featuring SZA. This song once again just shows how sensational of a pair of voices Kendrick and SZA are together. It's such a beautiful song. I just can't put into words how beautiful it is. This song got nominated for an Oscar, for God's sake. It didn't win because Bradley Cooper, but still, absolutely magnificent song, as is Pray For Me. I really need to get into more of The Weeknd's music because his vocals are just incredible. This is Killmonger's theme song, trust. And the little, I don't know, callbacks to previous Kendrick albums was cool. Absolutely excellent song. The fact that we've only gotten 2 Kendrick and Abel songs is a crime. Finally, we have King's Dead with J-Rock, Future, and James Black. The song ties in very well to the Black Panther movie, with Killmonger taking the throne after defeating T'Challa, even possibly being about T'Chaka's death in Captain America Civil War. And the song just vibes. Okay, time to talk about not Black Panther stuff. And by that, I mean one song, Mona Lisa by Lil Wayne. The song goes over a deceptive woman who sets up her boyfriend to be robbed. Lil Wayne and Kendrick play the characters of the song. Wayne plays the robber and Kendrick plays the boyfriend. And this song is absolute gas. I haven't listened to much of Lil Wayne's work, but oh my god, his flow on this song is amazing. And Kendrick gives a really solid emotional performance as the betrayed boyfriend. It's no Blacker the Berry or You, but it's still great. Just a fantastic song. Please listen to it if you haven't. And there ends the Damn era. Only 2 more albums to go. To support Damn, Kendrick went on his first headlining arena tour, the Damn Tour, which went from July 2017 to July 2018. It would gross $62.7 million globally, making it one of the highest grossing hip-hop tours of all time. Later that year, Kendrick would win Best Rap Performance, Best Rap Sung Performance, Best Rap Song, Best Rap Album, and Best Music Video at the Grammys.
Once again, Best Rap Sung Performance, absolute deserved win.
Kendrick announced that he would be executive producing the Black Panther album for the movie. We've gone over some of the songs from that album already, so let's just say the album was very successful. It spent 2 consecutive weeks at the top of the Billboard 200. Kendrick and Dave Free launched PG Lang on March 5th, 2020, which was basically described at the time as a multilingual, artist-friendly service company. In August 2021, Kendrick announced he was in the process of making his final album under TDE, which confirmed rumors that he was leaving TDE to focus on PG Lang. Kendrick would co-headline the Super Bowl 56 halftime show in 2022 with Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, 50 Cent, and Mary J. Blige. And on May 13th, 2022, Kendrick released his next album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers.
I got daddy issues, that's on me. Looking for I love you.
Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers was Kendrick's final album under Top Dog Entertainment. It's his longest album I'm gonna have to talk about, with 19 songs. The album was structured as a narrative of Kendrick's therapy.
Yay, he listened to my advice!
The album cover shows Kendrick and his family. What's interesting about this cover is Kendrick's usually private about his personal life, and the walls of the home they're in seem to have holes that have been covered up. But you still notice them no matter how much you try to cover them up. Just like how you can cope with pain through several different negative substances and habits, but will never fully cover up that pain. The holes are also representing something physical, possibly as a result of the fighting between Kendrick and Whitney. The struggles and ups and downs of their relationship are a major theme of the album, as you'll see shortly. We start off with United in Grief. The song goes over Kendrick going to therapy, as well as him reflecting on his career, going over the pitfalls of fame, and discussing all his spending habits. He mentions people such as his cousin, Baby Keem, and business partner, Dave Free. The song's a great start to the album. N95 has Kendrick address fake coping mechanisms while also addressing the facades a lot of people have acquired. Kendrick uses some metaphors to not only talk about people's hypocrisy, but also his own facade that he puts on that he has to take off to face the ugliness and work on the first phase of the healing process. It's another really great song.
I just want to say, if y'all have made it this far into the video, just give yourself a good pat on the back. Y'all are some real ones.
Worldwide Separate starts off with a brief introduction from Kodak Black before going into Kendrick's reclusive life. He goes over having 2 kids and how many things such as religion have gotten him out of writer's block. He also goes over many romantic encounters he's had with white women and recalls indirectly causing harm to his community. This being a reference to the fact that TDE held a food drive that would end up contributing to heart disease that those who attended got. It's a great song that works as a self-criticism for Kendrick and society as a whole. Die Hard has Kendrick open up about his fears and struggles when it comes to being honest and sharing in a relationship. These struggles probably coming from past traumas and bad relationships. But by the end of the song, he learns that he needs to overcome his past and grow into being the best partner he can be by realizing that his partner is more loyal than his past partners, and their relationship is not as hollow and empty as he thinks it is. It's another really great song.
If the album keeps improving like this, that's maybe my favorite Kendrick album ever. Spoiler alert, it's my favorite Kendrick album ever.
Father Time is a fantastic song. Kendrick goes over the toxic masculinity that has been created between generations, whether that be from a father who's there creating it, or from the absence of a father. Kendrick talks about his struggling mental health and is told by Whitney to go seek counseling from Eckhart Tolle. He then goes on to cite daddy issues as one of the roots for gang culture among young black men in the community. One of my favorite songs on the album, Rich, is one of 2 interludes of the album. Kendrick's not even in this interlude. Kodak speaks about Kendrick's challenges on his journey to being successful in the rap industry. He also talks about how even though his current situation is much better than previous situations he's been in, Kendrick is still fearful of his problems and thus behaves very cautiously towards them. It's a good interlude, not much else. Rich Spirit shows an irrelevant Kendrick talking about his qualities while trying to stand against the criticism made against him. The song is more unique where it uses ethereal melodies to portray a different side of Kendrick's customary approach, while also debating themes such as loyalty, narcissism, morality, etc. Amazing song, love Sandu's vocals on this. We Cried Together is basically 6 minutes of a couple, aka Kendrick and Taylor Page, having a big fight just constantly hurling insults at each other. Another interpretation of the song is Kendrick versus the state of hip-hop being mad at Kendrick for his 5-year-long absence. A certain part of the song makes for one of the funniest things ever if you listen to the clean version of it, if you know, you know. It's a great song and just a very emotional thing to listen to. Purple Heart shows the couple trying to heal after the big fight and We Cried Together. The title alludes to the Purple Hearts, a military decoration awarded by the United States Armed Forces to those who were wounded, injured, or killed in battle. It could also represent purple marks, such as bruises after a fight. It's yet again another amazing song.
Okay, enough with the fun stuff. Time to get into why this is my favorite Kendrick album of all time. The second half of the album.
Count Me Out is about Kendrick calling out a former significant other that he loves to prove wrong. This song marks a new chapter in Kendrick's life as a result of feeling obligated to open more in his relationship. By the end of the song, he realizes that he's too good for this person, and that leaving the relationship makes him a lot happier as opposed to the miserable feelings he had mindlessly trying to bandage the mess he got himself into. I love this song so much. The vocal performances and instrumentals are just incredible. One of my favorites of the album, as is Crown. In this song, Kendrick gives insight into his psyche, showing us his deeply conflicted inner self. While he raps about his contrasting feelings about being seen and doing his best as a leader in his community versus not being able to please everyone, Kendrick also speaks about his love for his fans, his family, and himself. I don't know why I love this song so much, something about it just clicks with me.
And that's perfectly fine. Music taste is inherently subjective, so anyone can enjoy any song they like, even if they're wrong.
I know a lot of people don't like this song, and that's fine, but he literally says in the song over and over again that he can't please everybody, and that's kind of genius. Silent Hill is a 1999 survival horror video game developed by Team Silent, a group within Konami Computer Entertainment Tokyo, and published by Konami for the PlayStation. It's also the next song we're talking about. Kendrick and Kodak rap about success, life, and fake friendships. The song's title could be a reference to silence being one of the main coping mechanisms Kendrick used for his own mental health. Plus, considering the song is named after the video game series, this could be referring to Kendrick's placement in the rap game to being surrounded by villains and monsters like the games. It's a fantastic song. Both rappers are really good in the song. Savior is the other interlude of the album. Baby Keem, Kendrick's cousin, starts on about his problems growing up in his family before transitioning to talking about recent experiences, overcomings in society. The song starts off with a little talk from Eckhart Tolle, who I mentioned earlier. I think this is a much better interlude than the previous one, just because I really love Keem's bars and flow mixed with the violin in the background. Now the song Savior is also amazing. The song begins with Kendrick reminding those who look up to celebrities that they are only human before going into the brokenness of society. Each verse goes over a topic, whether that be racial issues, COVID-19 and political correctness, or Kendrick's own struggles and flaws. Kendrick talks about how instead of looking for a modern-day messiah, we should look up to his messiah, Jesus. I think this song's on par with its interlude. It's amazing stuff. Auntie Diaries tells the story of 2 transgender people, using said story to critique himself and society. Near the end of the song, he alludes to when he invited a white woman onto stage to perform Mad City, but she was forced off when she wouldn't stop saying the N-word in the song. He juxtaposes this misuse of the N-word with his own community's use of the F-word to insult queer people, using it as a teaching moment. I know some people don't like this song, but I'm not gonna lie. This is another one of my favorites of the album.
Let's not make it political in the comment section, okay? We're just talking about a silly salamander, silly song.
I think this song is one of the best examples of Kendrick's storytelling ability. This narrative he weaves is just great, and the build-up at the end was incredible. Phenomenal song, I don't care what y'all say. Mr. Morale covers themes such as excess and generational trauma. Kendrick references R. Kelly and Oprah Winfrey, both of whom are known for their closeness to abuse. Kendrick's flow in this song is just amazing, and the transition from Auntie Diaries to this song is just superb. Amazing song. Mother I Sober is such a beautiful song. It opens with Kendrick confronting his trauma by discussing his upbringing, talking about his mom's experiences with abuse, and how she fears Kendrick might go through that too. Kendrick confirms he was never taken over by drug addiction, but rather lust. He opens up about his hopelessness when he talks about cheating on his, at the time, fiancée. He talks about his guilt and remorse for his mistakes, before going into his viewpoint on the toxic, over-sexualized culture faced by the black community and how it has to be brought up to attention. However, he brings up the abuse many black children face can be a byproduct of the culture, as it doesn't promote stuff like safety and security a lot, which ends up being called the generational curse of black communities. By the end of the song, Kendrick metaphorically frees everybody affected by this toxicity, including himself, by using transparency and positivity. He aims to free the so-called generational curse. All this helps to push the album's theme of Kendrick only being human. This is genuinely like top 3 Kendrick songs of all time for me, with a good shot of it being number 1. The slow build-up of the instrumentals and Kendrick's emotion in his voice is just perfectly paced. It's a tragic song that builds into a hopeful song, and Beth Gibson's vocals on here are just so beautiful. And Whitney's little bit at the end just broke me, dude.
Say thank you, Dad.
Thank you, Daddy. Thank you, Mother.
And we still somehow have 2 songs left. There seems to be a trend with Kendrick's albums. Okay, I know Mirror is technically the outro for the album, but I'm counting the other song because why not? Anyways, Mirror is about the pressures of fame and the contrast of living selfishly despite his modest image. The mirror represents one's personal growth, suggesting to Kendrick's fans that they should go on their own and shouldn't wait on him despite his long wait to release music. He makes it clear that he will always put himself and his family first, for he can't sacrifice what little time he has with them for anyone. It's a really great song. Not one of the best, but a solid outro for the album. And finally, we have The Heart, Part 5.
Oh my god, I haven't even talked about the Heart series yet.
Okay, I'm gonna briefly skim through the Heart series to keep things on track. Basically, the Heart series is a series of standalone singles made by Kendrick that usually release alongside an album. Part 1 was released in April 2010 near the release of the Kendrick Lamar EP. Part 2 was released in September 2010 alongside his mixtape Overly Dedicated. Part 3 was released in October 2012 near the release of Good Kid, Mad City. And Part 4 was released in March 2017 near the release of Damn. They all work as little promotional pieces for the things I just said. And they're all pretty good songs. I don't have much else to say on them. Back to your regularly stationed program. The Hard Part 5 also works as a promotional piece, but the music video for this song shows Kendrick's face morphing into other celebrities using deepfake technology. Some of the celebrities include Kanye West, Kobe Bryant, Will Smith, and O.J. Simpson. It's very much an experience to look at. The song is also a tribute to his late friend Nipsey Hussle, who died on March 31st, 2019 after being shot 10 times. It's one of my preferred parts of the Heart series, I like it. And there ends Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Yeah, this is very comfortably my favorite Kendrick album. The first half is already great, but the second half is just next level stuff, including 4 of my favorite Kendrick songs ever. It's thematically rich, emotionally great, and has some excellent features. I don't think I have any faults with this album. Here's my ranking, and to the shock of probably no one, I'm giving Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers a 10 out of 10.
It's a good thing Kendrick's longest album is also his best, or else this would have been miserable.
Now we got the era songs. First off, the remix of America Has a Problem by Beyonce. These two did a song together for the terrible live-action remake of Lion King between these two songs. And I just wanted to point that out because this movie is really, really, really bad. I think the song's good, I really like Kendrick's part, but I've never really been too big of a Beyonce fan, so that kind of brought it down for me. Still a good song, but I'm mainly here for Kung Fu Kenny. Then we have Family Ties, where Kendrick teams up with his cousin Baby Keem for their collab after months of partnering under PG Lang. The cover art for the single pays homage to Good Kid, Mad City's cover art, and that makes my brain happy. The song was one of Kendrick's few appearances in music between Black Panther and Mr. Morale, which was a big deal. I think it's a pretty average Kendrick song, and by that I mean it's great.
I'm gonna get so many comments under this video saying that I'm glazing Kendrick.
And finally, we have The Hillbillies, also a collab between Kendrick and Baby Keem. They go back and forth comparing themselves to Messi and Neymar respectively. This song is seen as a bit of a diss towards Drake in a way. Baby Keem's flow on this song and Drake's flow on his song Sticky have a lot of similarities that people started to notice. Some saw it as a diss to add fuel to the fire of Kendrick and Drake's beef that has been slowly building up for the last decade, while others saw it as a tribute. The song's music video also has a cameo from Tyler the Creator, who teases the return of his Camp Flag Gnaw festival, a festival that Drake got booed off the stage in 2019.
People have more conspiracy theories about this beef than they do about the government, I swear to Christ.
With all that being said, the song's pretty good. I like it. That's all I have to say about it. Now we can move on from this era. Only one more album to go.
I can almost see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Mr. Morale debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 with 177,000 album sales. To support said album, Kendrick went on the Big Steppers tour, which went from July 2022 to March 2024. It would end up grossing $110.9 million worldwide, making it the highest grossing rap tour ever at the time. At the 2023 Grammys, Mr. Morale won Best Rap Album, while The Hard Part 5 won Best Rap Performance and Best Rap Song. Which brings us to 2024, and you all know where this is going. So I'm going to try and avoid repeating a lot of what I said in the YouTube 2024 video, because I think I did a good job summing up the situation in that video. In short, this was the year the slowly building Kendrick and Drake beef hit its boiling point.
Well, I guess it's poetic justice that someone killed his vibe.
J. Cole dropped a verse in the song First Person Shooter he did with Drake, saying that he, Drake, and Kendrick were the big three, but also insinuating that Kendrick was in third place. Kendrick said that there was no big three and that he was on top in his feature on the song Like That, which would just lead to him and Drake throwing songs back and forth at each other. J. Cole was originally part of the beef, but he apologized after his first song. Drake shot Push-Ups and TMF, Kendrick struck back with Euphoria and 616 in LA, Drake retaliated with family members and Bop before Kendrick dropped Meet the Grants, and then the absolute nuclear bomb that was Not Like Us, which made all sorts of claims. Now I know some people don't like the song because A, they think it's really overplayed, and B, it makes 7-year-olds think Kendrick's only claim to fame is calling Drake a kid diddler, and they have to remind everyone of that 24/7. Now the second thing I can totally understand can be annoying as a Kendrick fan, and the first thing I get, but like, I'm not about to sit here and pretend like it's a bad song, because it's not. It's not one of his best, but it's still good. But it did not need to win 5 Grammys. I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So while riding the high of basically destroying Drake's career for like a month, on November 22nd, 2024, Kendrick surprise dropped his most recent album, GNX.
Turn his TV off, turn his TV off, turn his TV off.
GNX is a big album because not only is it his first album following his beef with Drake, but it's also his first album not made under Top Dog Entertainment. A teaser of Squabble Up was played at the beginning of Not Like Us' music video, but besides that, no one knew when this album was actually coming. First off, I just want to say, this cover art with Kendrick on the Buick GNX is so tough. Secondly, we start off with Whacked Out Murals. The song shows Kendrick's strong commitment to his form of art, his view of his legacy, and his struggles with external pressures. So this is pretty easily one of, if not Kendrick's simplest album. It's not as thematically complex as some of his best, which you think would be a negative.
But you seem to have forgotten my ace in the hole. I'm biased.
I think this is an amazing start to the album and gives me vibes to his part in Control. Squabble Up, once again, a portion of this song was played at the beginning of Not Like Us' music video. The term Squabble Up is drawn from LA slang, referring to either fighting or dancing depending on the context. The dual meaning helps the song's themes of confrontation and celebration, as the song delivers both a tough and electrifying energy.
God, I sound like an IGN reviewer.
Luther sounds like something off the Spider-Verse track, and in my opinion, that's one of the best compliments a song can get. I cannot express how much I love Kendrick and SZA together. The song is arguably the best song they've done together. Their vocals together just work so well in harmony. Kendrick singing about wanting to rid the world of pain and replace it with light for his lover, and that said lover keeps him grounded, while SZA's voice voice creates an ethereal presence in the song, creating a wanting for connection with her partner. Dude, these two can do no wrong when they're in a song together. Beautiful song, truly. Man at the Garden is basically a manifesto of Kendrick's philosophy of his life. He earned everything he has gotten because of his hard work and sacrifice, his principles, and his struggles he had to overcome. The song also works as a challenge to his fans and listeners to look back on their own lives and think about what they've done and sacrificed to get to where they are, or why they deserve it all. It's another amazing song and one of the more thematically complex of the album. Hey Now features Dottie Six, an underground artist and LA native, who was freed in August 2024 after spending 7 years in prison. It works as a declaration to fight back against and go above adversity, avoid distractions, and protect one's vision while traversing through life in the music industry. Yeah, this song just kind of exists. It's good and all, but it's nothing mind-blowing. It's kind of just a song that's just wedged in between two incredible songs of the album. Speaking of incredible songs,
Reincarnated is the best song of the album. Like there's very little competition.
The song is about artists who Kendrick feels connected to both artistically and personally. He first talks about John Lee Hooker, a revolutionary R&B guitarist from Michigan, before talking about a female Chilean circuit vocalist who gained widespread fame, but struggled a lot from substance abuse, who is most likely Billie Holiday. Since these two around the same time were in their prime, instead of outwardly inferring that his soul has been in each of their bodies before his own, Kendrick instead is likely inferring that the black community of now has inherited and built upon the greatness of those who came before them, with the bonus of learning from their quote-unquote ancestors' mistakes. The Talk with God part of the song is probably the best part of a song in the album, and genuinely is one of my favorite parts of a Kendrick song ever. It's thematically rich, it's got great flow and instrumentals, and the dynamic between Kendrick and God is just incredible. Incredible song. Definitely one of my favorites from Kendrick. TV Off is a fantastic song that the internet just had to go and ruin because we can't have nice things.
Must I live in such a hellish cage?
Yes.
When people aren't memeing Kendrick's mustard bit near the middle of the song calls for people to rise above mediocrity and toxic influences, and to remain focused on their goals and purpose in life. The metaphor "turn this TV off" is used as a critique of conformity and passive consumption. You know, this song is a lot more complex than I thought it was. I just enjoy it because it went hard. I love this song. It's not objectively one of Kendrick's best, but it's definitely one of my favorites. Dodger Blue is a much more calm song coming off of TV Off. It's an ode to LA, talking about neighborhoods like Gardena and Compton, while criticizing outsiders' superficial views on the city. It's a really good, just chill song to vibe to while you're doing something else. Peekaboo is another call-out song to the music industry, using various double entendres and Compton slang to make said call-out. It works as a little interlude for the final 3 songs of the album, and it is a bop. Great song. Now we have The Heart Part 6. To my knowledge, the first time a part of the Heart series has actually been a part of a Kendrick album. Part 5 was a bonus to Mr. Morale, it doesn't count. Drake already made a Heart Part 6 near the end of the Beef's prime as a sort of mockery of Kendrick. This song was a way of taking back his series, but ironically enough, it doesn't mention the Beef at all. It's about the original idea of the series, showing Kendrick's thoughts on the music culture at large, as well as his personal life. He talks about his early years in the industry before his departure from Black Hippie and Top Dog Entertainment. It's probably my favorite part of the Heart series. It's really great. GNX is honestly easily the weakest song of the album, to be perfectly honest. The song is about capturing the essence of Compton's culture, and it's decent, I guess.
And by Kendrick standards, that's garbage!
It's a perfectly fine song, just nothing special about it. And finally, we have Gloria, SZA's other feature on the album. The woman that Kendrick speaks about in the song is a metaphor for the discussion of his craft. Gloria, or Glory, is a personification of his pen and the journey it represents, his rap glory. The relationship described in the song symbolizes the intimate and often conflicted bond Kendrick has with his art, mirroring its power to uplift him. It's a great song that once again has amazing vocals from both Kendrick and SZA. And there ends the final album at the time of this recording, GNX. Now I have a lot of bias towards this album, so that may shine through what I'm about to say. But I love this album. Yeah, it's admittedly got some of Kendrick's weaker songs, which brings it down a little bit. But it's also got some great features, especially from SZA. It's still got some very enjoyable songs, even if they are pretty simple. And it's a very important album for me, because it's what got me into Kendrick's music and listening to albums in the first place. So while it's nowhere near top 3 Kendrick albums, I still love this album a lot. Here's my rankings for the songs, and I'll give GNX a 9 out of 10. Now for the era songs that don't involve
shockingly enough, they do exist.
First off, we have good credit with Playboi Carti.
Hey, remember when Kendrick condemned Drake for being a deadbeat?
Yeah, so for those who didn't know, hit rapper Playboi Carti is pretty infamous for being a deadbeat, especially with the incident where he missed the birth of his child with Iggy Azalea to play PlayStation with Lil Uzi Vert. Did I put a Mad Lib into the script by accident? Now, while I Am Music isn't a very good album, surely Kendrick can at least make something good on here, and he is the better part of this song. I don't know, the song's fine, it's whatever, it's just part of a really not good album. Next we have Watch the Party Die, a surprise release on September 11th, 2024. That release date doesn't feel intentional at all. It was released shortly after the announcement that Kendrick will be performing at the Super Bowl in 2025. The song shows much of Kendrick's frustrations with the current state of the music industry, specifically how celebrities like Drake represent hedonism, materialism, and the glorification of fake success. Kendrick released this song at the start of the 2024 VMAs, which seemed to be him taking attention away from the mainstream celebration of commercial music and forcing his audience to look into the deeper issues that are currently affecting the industry. It's a very good song, but I just cannot shake off that September 11th release. Like, what does it mean?
I mean, you could say Kendrick's a terrorist to the music industry.
This man's body was never found after making that joke. And finally, we have 30 for 30 with SZA. Come on, you knew I had to sneak at least one more Kendrick and SZA song. The song is about creating boundaries, requiring authenticity, and dealing with emotional conflict. Both SZA and Kendrick make known their self-respect while also calling out their fakeness, in the end choosing to prioritize their personal growth. I don't know how many more times I can repeat this. When Kendrick and SZA are together, nothing can go wrong. This song is amazing. And there ends the final song for the final song era. But we're still not done. GNX debuted atop the Billboard 200 with 319,000 albums units sold. At the 2025 Grammys, Kendrick won Record of the Year, Song of the Year, Best Rap Performance, Best Rap Song, and Best Music Video. All of them from Not Like Us. A diss track won 5 Grammys. Like, that's absurd. This is where I can really see where Not Like Us haters are coming from. Anyways, Kendrick performed at the Super Bowl 59 halftime show on February 9th, 2025. His show included songs such as the unreleased Bodies, Squabble Up, Humble, DNA, Euphoria, Man at the Garden, Peekaboo, Luther, and All the Stars before ending it off with Not Like Us and TV Off. So basically a lot of songs from his most recent and most popular albums. It had cameos from Samuel L. Jackson as Uncle Sam, SZA performing All the Stars and Luther with Kendrick, Serena Williams, Drake's ex, crip walking to Not Like Us, and Mustard showing up for TV Off. Kendrick looking directly into the camera smiling while calling out Drake before proceeding to call him a Dr. Disrespect in front of 133.5 million viewers is one of the most deviously petty actions I think I've ever seen, and I loved every second of it. I thought the show was great, but Fox News didn't. These clowns were claiming that, oh, that was the worst halftime show ever. I could barely understand anything he was saying. Grr, grr, grr.
Now it takes some media literacy in order to understand Kendrick's music, so I don't really know if you can rightfully criticize his music if you're not even regularly literate. I mean, this woman called Kendrick Kendall and called the Grammys the Grammars. I mean, for God's sake. Also, there sure seems to be a common denominator between all these people complaining about his music. I'll give you a hint. It's in the wrinkles.
This is the first time I think in my whole life I've actually cared about anything relating to football. I will not be back next year. Unless they have SZA as the main singer. Or possibly Tyler. And that brings us to today. The birds are chirping, the sun is shining, the bees are buzzing, and Kendrick Lamar is a bloody legend. Kendrick, I swear if you release an album right as I get this video out, I will get lawyers involved. Kendrick Lamar has had an immense impact on me through his music. I just love the way he's able to tell complex narratives and themes through just his music. I am in no way a good singer or songwriter, so getting to see someone who loves to create stories and tell events as much as I do in his own form of media is so inspiring to see. As I hope I've proven to you, Kendrick came from a really rough background, but he still managed to get out into the world and use his talents to create incredible pieces of media loved by millions. That is just so inspiring for me. I'm not saying that my upbringing is anything like Kendrick's, But it doesn't have to be. Just because someone looks different, speaks differently, acts different, or has a different past than you, doesn't mean you can't relate or be inspired by them and their journey. I mean, my favorite character of all time looks... My second favorite character of all time looks nothing like me. I'm not the spawn of a human turned Oni who can fight like a ninja and meet God, but he's still really inspiring to me because of his journey to where he is now, just like Kendrick. What I'm trying to get at here is Kendrick is an immensely important music artist to me and is certainly one of my favorites of all time. If you want a quick ranking of his albums from me, it would go Section 80, Untitled Unmastered, Damn, GNX, Good Kid Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly, and finally, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers.
I'm not ranking all the songs. Here's a rough top 10 if you're curious. I'm going to take a really, really long nap.